Welcome everyone to today's webinar on extending agents with MCP servers and custom actions. My name is Tommi. I'm the VP of Product here at Sema4.ai, and I'll be your host today. We've got some really exciting live demos lined up for you today, so get ready to see this tech in action. Please don't be shy. You can drop your questions in the chat as we go. Me and my colleagues will be monitoring throughout, and we will address as many questions as possible throughout the session. But before we dive into the demos, let's start with some fundamental questions. What's the difference between impressive AI and transformative AI? I think the answer is quite simple. It's tools. Agentic AI without tools is like a brilliant employee locked in an empty room. It can think, it can reason, maybe make some strategies, but it can't actually act on those insights. Tools are what bridges the gap between AI's reasoning capabilities and real business impact. They enable agents to pull live data from your CRM, update records in your ERP system, process documents, trigger workflows, and integrate seamlessly with the enterprise systems that run your business. This is where AI stops being a novelty and starts delivering a measurable return on investment, reducing operational costs, accelerating decision-making, and unlocking entirely new revenue opportunities. But here's the challenge that's been holding everyone back. Building these integrations has traditionally been a complex, pretty time-consuming process. Every connection requires custom code, APIs change often, and it produces a lot of ongoing maintenance. So teams working on AI agents and integrations, they spend more time building plumbing than actually delivering value. That's exactly why we built Sema4.ai Action Gallery in the beginning, to solve this integration challenge once and for all. Our comprehensive gallery provides pre-built enterprise-ready actions for the applications that matter most for your business. SharePoint, HubSpot, SAP, ServiceNow, Workday, so forth. So instead of spending months building custom integrations, you can connect your agents to some of the most common enterprise systems in minutes. Now, the latest entrant to the tool scene is a Model Context Protocol, or MCP. It was started originally by Anthropic and provides the universal standard that makes our Action Gallery even more powerful. You can now seamlessly integrate community-built or vendor-hosted MCP servers alongside Sema4.ai actions. So whether you're using our Docker MCP gateway to connect to existing MCP servers, or you're building custom actions with our SDK, everything works together in one unified framework. And this isn't just about technical standards. It's about giving you the fastest path to production-ready AI agents. Business users get immediate access to the tools they need when they're building AI agents in Sema4.ai Studio. Developers can extend capabilities using MCP servers from the growing community ecosystem, or build completely custom integrations that work with any MCP client. And enterprises get the confidence that their AI investments will scale safely and flexibly. So now it's time to bring our stars in. Come on, guys.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, so we have today, we have Eric Hanson. Eric is our head of customer success. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
And we have Mika Hänninen, our solution engineer. Welcome, Mika.
Thank you. Hello all.
So now Mika and Eric will take you behind the scenes to show exactly how this works in practice, from using MCP servers with agents to building custom actions with Python. I think it will be MCP first, and then we do custom actions with Python. Remember to send us a lot of questions. That's this side panel in the view. And now it's time to dive in and see how Sema4.ai makes enterprise AI integration effortless. And we start with Mika. Over to you. Go for it.
Yeah. Thank you, Tommi. That was good introduction. So I will start with the MCP, and that's the easiest way to extend tools for your agentic world. So let's go through that. So I will first show you a few slides, but I will go through quite quickly these slides so that I can show the actual product in action, our Studio. So in Studio, it's possible to add remote MCP servers. So like the transfer protocols are the common ones, the SSC and the streamable HTTP. Also, SDAO is kind of supported, but it supports only local MCP servers that you have hosted on your own machine, on the same machine that your Studio is running. When you're adding MCP servers, you can add custom headers, which most common one is, of course, the authorization, which can support also authorization on OAuth 2 or like bearer tokens or something like that. And all the MCP servers that you have set up are readily available and centrally managed in your Actions tab in the Studio. And like Tommi mentioned, we have also great integration with the Docker MCP gateway, which at the moment has Docker's curated MCP catalog of more than 150 MCP servers, which can be directly used in our Studio in secure way and deployed. Some of the MCP servers there have different configurations, but some of them don't require any configurations to use. And from the Docker desktop, it's also possible to download and install our Studio. And then in the Studio, do the one-click kind of connect to Docker MCP toolkit so that you can access those Docker's curated MCP servers. So let's look at this slide first, and then I go to the Studio. So you can configure any set of your MCP servers in your agent once that has been set up. So I will now go into the Studio. Okay, it should be loading. So this is our Sema4.ai Studio. And on the left side here, you can see that we have agents, actions, and data sources. So MCP servers are configured into actions. So this is kind of where every tool available for your agents build are available. So you can have custom My Actions, Sema4.ai Gallery Actions, or directly having actions coming from a control room, and then the MCP servers. In here, I at the moment have only connection to Docker MCP toolkit, and I actually want to show you the kind of what are available there. So I will briefly show the Docker desktop. Okay, here. So Docker desktop has this MCP toolkit. And in here in the catalog at the moment, you can see that there are 157 different MCP servers that can be tried and used. And at the moment, I have selected a couple of them, Airbnb Search and the Open Weather. I want to build an agent that would be kind of providing me travel information. And if I check these, for example, those Airbnb Search, we can see that this MCP server provides basically two different tools, and it shows that this doesn't require any configuration. And this other MCP server that I have been using here is the Open Weather MCP server, but this requires actually configuration. It requires Open Weather .com's API key, and I have configured that already here. So let's move back to the studio. So like I mentioned, I have basically two MCP servers connected through Docker MCP toolkit. So I have the Airbnb, those tools are visible here. And then I have the weather tool also available. But now I can also add my own MCP server. So I would be liking also to access databases with one agent. So I'm going to use Neon. Actually, not. I won't name that like that. I will name it Neon MCP, and I want to configure this so that it will use the correct transport method. But as I'm not totally sure now which one is correct, I will leave this to the auto setting. It will automatically find the correct transport method for the MCP server. And now I need to add the URL for the MCP server. And I also need authorization. And while I'm adding this, the Neon is actually a service that provides easy access for maintaining Postgres databases. So that's a good kind of service to use databases. And in here, I will add as a secret my period API key. I can show it because it's not fully visible here. So period token and the API key they're added. And now I can add this MCP server. It has been now added and it's visible here. And I can see all the tools that are available with the Neon MCP. There are a lot of them. So I will be using some of these, or the actually LLM is choosing which one it will use. And I have database agent here. Let's start from the beginning. This is really a skeleton structure for this agent. So it doesn't have any actions yet available or tools. It has really skeleton runbook here. Help with databases. I need help with those. Now that I have added the Neon MCP, I can select and use that. I will add it to the agent. And now I can apply changes to my agent and start using the Neon MCP. So the first thing that I want to do here is that I want to say to the Neon MCP that I want to use webinar project that I have created in my Neon service. It will first verify that that exists, and then it selects that. Okay, now it has selected the webinar project into use, and next I want to check or kind of add information about the stock market. I have actually typo there, but maybe LLM anyways understands me. Yeah, it understood that I want to actually store information for the stock market. Now it's creating the new database. I can see what kind of SQL it's running. It's using the create database. Now it's preparing the table. So it's basically creating the table structure. Okay, now it should be ready. So I can ask it what kind of table structures it created. Okay, it created three different tables: companies, stock prices, and trades. It's getting me the schema on all of them. Okay, well, I don't need that now. I want to anyways have a sample data, so I'm asking it to kind of generate me random data, sample data for the stock market. Okay, it added 10 sample companies. Now it will add the stock prices and rates. I'm stopping its processing now. I will ask it to kind of list me companies. Okay, it kind of added the common subset, kind of common companies that everybody knows. So that's it, how you can use MCP server into agent. So next step would be that I would be testing this out and checking that everything works. Then I could be deploying this into our control room. So I can do it from here. I will publish it into my control room. And once it is in the control room, everybody can kind of distribute it for the users so that they could be using this agent as well. Let's see. So what would be also nice, well, actually, I forgot that I have another agent I want to use. So the travel agent, this is configured to use Docker MCP toolkit. So in here I have those 3 tools that I kind of added before, and I want to ask some questions from it. So I want to travel to Austin, Texas, and I want to search for 2 places for 2 adults for the next week. And it should be providing me results on the Austin for the next week. Okay, it seems that it showed me some place that was already taken. Okay, but I want to know what is the weather like in Austin. Okay, it's really hot. So I don't actually like that it's so hot. So I want to search places in Helsinki, assuming that with the same search specs, so that for the 2 adults and for the next week, but only if it's much cooler than in Austin. Let's see if it provides me any places to stay. Okay, surprisingly, it's much cooler in Helsinki than in Austin. And it's providing me some nice places to stay in. So Now, one option would be that I could be basically creating an extra agent that would be kind of connecting with my calendar and maybe my email, because I want to kind of get good places, and then I would like to communicate with my wife using email, because otherwise the communication is so difficult. So I would be emailing my wife that I want to stay in Helsinki in these places. So for that purpose, I will be creating like the personal Google Assistant. So actually, I went here too quickly. I want to show you what I was actually doing here. So each agent can be kind of utilized as a agent MCP server, and we have here a local URL that can be used to create an MCP server, so of this travel assistant in this case. So I will be adding this. This will be travel MCP, and I add here the local URL for the travel assistant agent that I already created. It doesn't require any extra headers to use, so I can just add it with this. So it will also show me, in this case, 3 different tools that I can use. I can message this travel assistant agent, and that's good. Now I can go into my personal Google Assistant. I actually will be removing the Google Calendar because due to time constraints, I won't be doing the authentications or anything, but I could add that later. So now I will add this travel MCP, which will be actually communicating with that other agent as a MCP server. I'm asking it what it can do for me. What you can do for me if I can type. Yeah, so I will ask this other agent still to give me places in London, UK for Tuesday for 1 adult, because my wife didn't want to go there. So I'm now running out of time, so I'm hoping that my travel assistant agent will quickly give me a place to go.
I came to see where are you traveling with your wife. Clearly not anywhere hot. I do like Texas and hot climates. Maybe I can go.
Yeah, maybe you can go, but it's too hot for me. Almost 40 degrees.
That's Celsius.
Yeah, Celsius. Okay, I got nice places from London. So that's how you can utilize MCP servers with agent. So that's from my side.
Thank you, Mika. And all the listeners, please make sure to follow our blog at Sema4.ai/blog. There's a couple of recent posts that covers our MCP integration, for example, with Docker MCP Gateway. And remember that you can actually download Sema4.ai Studio from Docker Desktop directly. It is an easy way to get started. So the community around MCP servers has really exploded recently with probably like thousands of vendor and community provided servers. Some of them Mika was showing in the demo. But there are moments when you don't find the one that you need. Maybe for your custom ERP, the one that was built a bit longer ago. Or maybe you find one, but it lacks features that you need for your use case. So what then? This is when custom actions enter the discussion. The framework for custom tools is something that we started like way before MCP spec came out, and it's really battle tested in production with enterprise customers day in, day out. It's live and it's out there. And it comes with some really cool features like automatic logging in Python and insanely great user level OAuth support. And now Eric will show you how to build custom actions. So Eric, your time.
Works for me. Thank you all. I'm not going to kill you with a bunch of PowerPoint slides. I'm instead going to show everything live, but I do want to start with one PowerPoint slide, right? So we work in VS Code or Cursor. When you get VS Code or Cursor, what you want to do is you want to install our two extensions, which is our Sema4.ai SDK and our data access, right? When you do that, you'll see these two icons here within your Cursor or your VS Code. The other thing that I want to point out here is maybe take a screenshot of this. If you're working behind a firewall, you'll want to make sure that you have these destinations open for outbound communication, because we do pull in various data, various information in order to help make your agents a little bit more robust. So on that note, let's kind of skip through the rest of the slides and go straight into screen share. Mac OS. There we go. So what I have here is a brand new window for Cursor. And the way I get started is I'm going to open up a new project folder. I'm going to create a new folder here. We're going to call it webinar. Hit create, open that guy up. And now I'm in Cursor. As you can see, I have my two extensions. I have my Sema4.ai extensions, and then I have my Sema4 data access server. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my command palette, and I want to create. If I start typing in create, you'll see these with our SDK, you'll see these Sema4.ai options that you have here. In this case, I'm going to create my action package. I'm going to use this workspace that I'm in, and I'm going to give it a name. I'm just going to call it webinar. And there we go. And then I have some templates that I can use as well. Anywhere from a minimal one that just gives you the bare bone all the way up to using knowledge base. I'm going to create data access that's knowledge native query, because it's going to show us a couple extra things that you want to be that you can use with your actions. So once I did that, you notice that I came up here with all the information for my actual action package. A couple points that I want to make sure and point out to you here is the way we do our actions. If you've done anything with us from the RPA standpoint, this becomes pretty familiar with it. We used to have the conda YAML. Now we have a package YAML. In the package YAML, this is where it defines all the dependencies that you will use within your actions. And what I mean by that is, think about the pipey packages. If there's additional pipey packages that you want to install and want to use for your agent, you would put them in here, and that way they get packaged up. So for instance, if I wanted to add in pandas, I could do pandas, and I think the current one is 2.3.2. Nope. 2, and then I save it, and it asks me to rebuild my environment, and so I rebuild my environment. So what that's doing now is it's adding pandas to my automation or to my agent so that I can start working with that. Okay. The next thing you have here is your data actions and your data sources. The data sources are defining which connections you're wanting to use. If you're working with any databases, whether it's Postgres, SQL, Redshift, anything like that. And you can see here, we actually have an example Postgres database that you can connect to. This is available for everybody else. You can try that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my data server. In my data server, this shows all my data sources. And what I will end up doing is I'll create a new data source. Let me open this up to the side here so I can keep them both open at the same time. And then I come in here, I create my new data source. And this is where I select the engine, whether it's Postgres, Redshift, MySQL, various other ones. We have more and more coming in every week. You would then put in the information. So in this case, here's my name. It's going to be public demo. Copy that into here, public demo. Here's my host. Oops. My host, type it in there. Pass the port is that. The database is Postgres. The user is demo_user, and the password is very complicated, so we're just going to copy it there. And then once I do that, I hit add, and in theory, it would add it, but I already have it here, so there's a public demo. Now, what that did for me was, it now created this public demo database here that has all these tables and stuff, and so now I can run query against that. That's important in one moment. All right, now let's talk about the actions. So the actions is where all the magic happens. This is where we get our various import statements that are coming in, and then we create our actions here. Now there's several key points to creating your actions. First and foremost, there's this decorator. In this case, I'm doing a query. I then have the name of the function. And so this is a descriptive name that you'd want to give because that shows up as your actions whenever you create your agents. Your agent instead will have it say search customers per country substring. So you want to make sure that that makes sense. The next part of that are all the different arguments that are coming. So far, I'm not doing anything different than standard Python here, right? Other than I added my add query here. But these are the different arguments that are coming in. The other key point here are the descriptions that you put in with this, right? So first and foremost, this first description is a description of what this agent, what this action is actually going to be doing. That's important because whenever you run it from the agent will actually look at this and help it decide which action to actually use whenever you're talking to it. The second part of that is you need the arguments. Whatever arguments I put in here, with the exception of my data source, because this is a query, you don't need to tell it that the data source is an actual argument. But here I'm saying I'm looking for a search string, and the search string needs to be a country, for example, ER, right? So this part here is very important because it defines what's going on here. And then, of course, you have your regular actions here, right? So at this point, it's going to be search, and here's my SQL statement, select star from demo customers, where the country's name is approximately like the string, and it's running that query, and then it's going to return the tables. Okay. Now, if I ran that here, it would run it. I can always test that within my environment here. There you go. See, it's going to run. And there you go. It pulled out, showed me the results that's going on within there. So I found anything that had a where the country was approximately like the search string. The search string in this case was ER. So there's Germany, there's Netherlands, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, what if I wanted to add in a new action? Well, if I'm just doing a plain action, that's where I can add my add action. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to add an action. Coming down here, say add action. I'm going to say my definition is called greet the user. This is one thing I like about Cursor because it automatically fills in for everything for you. So it obviously is looking for a name. It's going to return a name. I need to put in my arguments. There we go. It's going to return it. So now this is a new query that a new action that I've created. I can test it. Now, this is very important when you're using our actions and our platform to create this. You'll want to make sure that you use either the run action or debug action from here, or if I'm in my actual package here, I can run those from here as well. That is because when you do it that way, it's actually pulling in the information from the package YAML, right? So remember we talked about this package YAML a little while ago. This is, if you don't have these installed, then whenever you run it, it's not going to use your actual, those packages. It'll use what's installed on your work machine. And that's what ends up happening. You get the issues where like it works on my machine, not somebody else's machine, right? So you want to make sure and use this here, but I click that. Now, if you notice when I click that, it didn't pop up right away. It asked me for a JSON. This is how you can run and test things locally before moving it into production or moving into your agent. So what I mean by that is I can click that and it gives me an error, of course, because why not? It's a demo. So when all else fails, we close this out, save it, and then reopen it. Let it rebuild. And now let's try that again. There we go. So I created and I put in the name here, save it, and then I can run this action. Now it's going to actually run, and they'll say, hello, Eric. If I want to test it with something else, save it there. I can run my action here. So there you go. So key points to here is one, make sure your package.yaml has the information that you want there. You can then import them here. So for instance, if I was going to use pandas, I'm going to say, no, was it from pandas, import data frame. Then I have the ability to use data frame within my environment here. Okay. The queries actions of it. So as you notice, I can make those changes here. Make those changes within here, but also I can set my breakpoints too. So if I had something here, like I wanted to print hello name, I could stop it here. And then when I run my debug action, once again, it's going to run, it's going to stop at that point, and then I can see what's going on, do my typical debugging, and then continue on from there, and it moves on. Okay. Any questions that I've seen with this? Well, you guys are monitoring the questions, so I'm going to assume there's no questions there. Now, with our queries, you do have the ability to have a scratch pad here. And within the scratch pad, what you're doing is you can now create queries and test your queries out against your data servers before putting it into production. So for instance, here, this one here is running and saying select from public demo, which is my public demo. I want to select star from demo customers, where the country is ER. And I can run that here, and it's going to give me that information. So I can run this any testing here. So I can say run, we're company name. So I can say we're company name. Oops, if I can type it. Company underscore name is like UTCH. Run that there, and there you go. Same concept. Once I get this all configured and get the query set up the way I want it to actually look like, I can then actually create a named query. And this, once again, is where I'm going to put in a name. This is searching by, company name. And then I'd create my query, and it actually puts it in to your action. There we go. And I create my action here, and it's running my query. Okay. Now, I'm going to get rid of that. So what do I do once I do that? Well, there's a couple other things I want to point out before we publish this to Studio. Is within my package YAML, you'll also see here, this is the name of the action that it's going to be showing up there. Here's a description of it, so you can change that as well. And then here's the versioning. The versioning becomes important as well, because as you upload your actions into Studio and into Control Room, you'll want to keep track of which versions you're actually using, right? So what do I do now that I'm ready to publish this? I will once again either come to my Sema4 SDK, and I can publish it to Studio from here, or I can open my command palette and I can say publish, start typing in publish, and it comes in here, and I'm going to publish my action package to Studio. I'm going to save everything, and it's saved. And so now if I go to Studio, there we go. You can see it is importing the actions. And I think I called it webinar, right? There's my webinar. And there it is. So there's my greet user, and there's my search for customer by user, right? So now this is now in my environment. You can see the different versions. I only have one version here. And so when I come into my agent, as you typically know, I then put it into my agent and add that information. The other thing that I want to point out to you with that is, let's come back here. Let's make a change to this. Let's say instead of hello, nice to meet you. Leave that there, save that there. I'm going to come back to my package YAML. I'm going to make this version 2. Save it. Nope, I don't want to rebuild that. And then I'm going to rebuild or publish to Sema4 Studio. Publish was successful. There we go. And if I refresh this, I should have, oh, there's my webinar. There you go. You now see both versions. So now you have the ability to select which version you want within the action package and move forward from there.
I'm here, Eric, for a timekeeper, so I think we need to start wrapping up. Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot. Do you still have anything to add, or is this everything?
The only one last thing that I want to share with you, just because I think it's very important, and you brought it up, is as I run my actions, there's down here, there's this task action output. If I click there, it shows my different runs, and everything you're doing is tracked here. So if there's any issues or anything that you run into here, you'll be able to see the steps that it went through, where the issues were, and what the actual issue was with that, so that you can correct it. It helps with your troubleshooting, so you don't have to do logging throughout. If you're used to Python, you have to do your own logging. Starting with our packages, it creates all that login for you.
Awesome, Eric. I know I'm really biased here, but I do love the Actions framework. And by the way, the latest version of the Action server that runs the actions Eric was building here in the demo, it also exposes the actions as MCP tools. That's a preview feature. So you should check the open source repository, which is Sema4.ai Actions, for more details on that. We're running really short on time. There's been amazing questions in chat. We've been mostly answering them as we go in the chat window. Just want to pick up maybe one or two from there. There was a question about if the Studio is a full end-to-end tool. So yes, indeed, you can build complete production-ready agents with Studio without any other tools needed. And then you can deploy them to production with using our cloud control room. The agents are either deployed to your own AWS account in your own VPC, or you can go deploy them to Snowflake, where they run natively in Snowflake Snowpark Container Services. There's also a question from a valued RoboCorp user, if it's possible to scale RoboCorp automations with agents. Yes, we have a pre-built action pack for RoboCorp and soon an MCP too. So that's all the content we had in store for today. Please follow us in LinkedIn and X, and stay tuned for the next webinar. Details are coming out very soon. Thank you for tuning in today. We really value your attention. See you later, and bye for now.